Hello everybody, Derrick here with Zenith Endurance. With marathon season right around the corner, I wanted to share with you 10 things that help me be successful on marathon day, and hopefully that they will give you some value as well. So with that, let's jump right into it. So one of the things that I use every time I run, not just during the marathon itself, but in day-to-day training, is some form of anti-chafe cream balm. My preference is Sport Shield. So this has a little roller in it, so you can apply that wherever you need. I have a lot of luck with this because it's easy to apply liberally, and it just stays on, lasts longer. So this is my go-to on a daily basis. Then one of the other items that I use, again, not just on race day, but throughout training, that's one of the key takeaways that you should have in this video, is a lot of these things you should practice with on a daily, weekly basis, so that come race day you're familiar with them and you know that they work for you. So I use Morton gels because of the convenience factor. I actually prefer the fluid, the powder that you mix into water. I think it's a more effective product, but realistically, carrying around a bottle of water is not something that I typically would want to do. So carrying around gels is the convenient option. So I train with these, on my long runs. I will take these, and then come race day, I'm doing the same exact thing that I do on a weekly basis, so there's nothing new on race day. Yeah, Morton Gel 100, that is my go-to for nutrition. And of course we need the foam roller. So again, this is one of those things you should do on a more regular basis, but specifically on marathon race weekend, I usually bring one of these along. Not so much for beforehand, I might loosen up just a little bit, but I want to leave a lot of that tension in my muscles, saving that tension for race. But really afterwards is the key, is that you race, you go all out. This really helps loosen up, especially if you're going to find yourself in a car traveling home after the race. This will make the next couple days a lot easier on you if you're able to loosen up after the race. Another important thing is your watch and your charger. Of course, runners, if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. So we use this on a daily basis, but it's important to make sure that you have a checklist of things to bring with and remember your charger, so you don't show up on the starting line and your watch is dead, and then suddenly it gets harder to be able to track your effort and follow your race plan as you go along. So for sure, bring your watch and do not forget your charger. Next is socks. So I prefer to run in Falca socks. I've had a lot of luck with the RU4 series. It's a pretty lightweight option. Does a really good job at wicking away that sweat. But the big thing that I recommend in relation to socks is I always bring 2 pairs on race day. You never know, during your warm-up, you accidentally step in a puddle, the grass has dew in it, you walk through grass, your feet get wet. Having that backup pair of socks is good, just in case something happens. Of course, who can remember the race day shoe? So this shoe, typically you're going to be looking for a high performance option, lightweight, perhaps a carbon plate, to really squeeze out every second you can out of your race. But along with that is you want to be sure that this shoe is something that you have at least ran a couple of times in. So myself, I typically will do 1, maybe 2 marathons in a shoe. But leading up to that, I will pick maybe 1 or 2 key workouts that I really want to nail and I will run that workout in the shoe that I plan on racing in to make sure that I'm not getting things like hot spots on my Achilles and my toes, just to make sure that mechanically it feels good. You can get a nice lockdown through the laces, but at the same time using it a little bit sparingly so that you're not wearing out the foam too much and you get the full benefit of that high performance shoe. Next is your kit or your racing singlet. Here's my Zenith Endurance singlet. Again, you want to make sure that you run in this a handful of times leading up to the race at least, to make sure that you're not getting any extra chafing, to make sure that it's extra comfortable. But the key is to pick a nice lightweight, sweat wicking material singlet. The higher performance options can get a little bit pricey, but I really recommend, investing in that, because it's going to make, when you're out there for a couple hours on race day, it's going to make the experience a lot more comfortable. On top of that, definitely be careful in the bottoms that you pick. So a couple of things that I consider when I pick the bottom or the shorts that I'm going to wear are, one, comfortability. So again, making sure you're not going to have any chafing or hot spots, things like that. But then you also have to consider utility. So are you carrying gels? Are you having somebody drop gels off for you? Are you using the nutrition on the course? For myself, I carry my own, so I make sure that I pick an option that has a nice big pocket that I can fit my nutrition in. I also prefer half tights. That's more personal preference. Split shorts, things like that are great options as well. But I find that carrying items is a lot easier in a pair of tights than it is shorts. Now this is just a travel tip. If you're traveling for a marathon, out of state, out of town, you're staying in a hotel, bring your own pillow. You never know what you're going to find in the hotel. Sometimes they're too soft, too firm. Again, one of those things that you're familiar with. I always bring my own pillow, because if I don't have a good pillow, I'm not going to sleep well. And, race nerves might be acting up on you the night before the race. But anything you can do to give yourself some comfort or feeling at home certainly doesn't hurt. One important thing that you might not consider as much, but I think is absolutely critical for your performance on race day, is having a good support system. So, if you're able to bring a friend or family members along with you to even help navigate there so you don't have to drive, so that you're able to kick your legs up in the car, take away some of those added stressors. If you come to the start line and you have anxiety about, we were late to the hotel room, couldn't find it, our dinner reservation was messed up, it really helps to have a family member or friend that's able to help take care of some of those responsibilities, so that you're able to focus on relaxing, breathing, and just getting prepared mentally for race day. And then, come race day, it's great to have somebody that's able to take your personal items, so you don't have to be concerned about, is it going to get stolen or lost at the bag drop? Somebody at the finish line there to find you, so that, you're able to get your phone right away if you need to contact somebody. But most importantly, and this is the key for me, is, somebody there rooting for you. Somebody that gives you meaning for this race, this effort, the last months that you've been training for. Somebody to share that with really makes that moment, that day, really special. So I can't stress enough how key it is to have really good people around you, and really good people that are there to support you. Perhaps one really underrated element of training, and the marathon in particular, is a journal. So one of the things that I do, and I really recommend you do, is writing down your thoughts in your training, to be able to reflect on things that are going well, things that you could see improvement in. But more importantly, it just helps you process those feelings, those things that you're going through. And to be able to write it down is a really nice way for your brain to just be grateful and thankful for the opportunity that you have to train and to be able to do these amazing things, run these cool races, experience these great cities, these great towns, build friendships, and to be able to reflect on that through the form of a journal has been really impactful in my life. And it's great to look back on, a year later, 5 years later, and think about, okay, here's where I was, and man, look where I am today because of all the hard work I've put in. And so to be able to follow your journey along on a personal level is just really special. So I encourage everybody to write down how they're feeling, at least on a weekly basis, if not more frequently. You will not regret it, and you will love looking back on it at a later time to see all of the progress that you've made. Thank you. Everything is personal preference. So what works for me might not be the best for you, which is why you should always try it in practice, in training leading up to race day. And then that way, you know what will work, what might not work, and you'll find your own essentials leading into race day. Thank you for watching.